It's pretty fitting that his last name is Bain because Miami's Ruben Bain Jr. really is the scariest player in college football.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
In only 3 games this season, Bain has looked like one of the sport's most unstoppable forces, generating 12 pressures with 1.5 sacks, a forced fumble, and an interception against Notre Dame. While injuries have played a factor in Bain's career with the Hurricanes, he's absolutely been a game wrecker for Miami when healthy, combining his massive 275-pound frame with impressive play strength and athletic ability to make him a dangerous weapon off the edge. Miami fans have seen those flashes from Bain when he's healthy, and that's because it's been his destiny to be a standout player for the Hurricanes dating back to high school. Bain was a top 100 recruit and Under Armour All-American in the 2023 recruiting class, and he immediately made an impact as a freshman for the U, picking up 7.5 sacks and 13 tackles for loss on his way to being named the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year. Bain wasn't as effective as a sophomore in 2024, suffering an injury on the opening drive of the season, causing him to miss 4 games after that, and then he wasn't the same once he got back onto the field. The good news is the bounce back has been in full force this year for Bain, and Miami head coach Mario Cristobal basically predicted that heading into the season and felt very confident about the kind of impact Bain was going to have on this Miami defense.
Ruben's approach to the offseason was awesome. He made it a point to get down to 275 pounds and lean up, become more explosive, and stay healthy. Last year, obviously, we lost him, I think, play number 2, and didn't get him back till game 5. And as you saw, as a freshman, he was one of the more impactful freshmen in the country. This system allows him to play fast and free. He's extremely intelligent. He's able to coach the guys around him as well. And his effort levels, his levels of leadership and just culture have really taken another step. We've seen it in practice on a daily basis, and we expect an awesome year out of Ruben Bane.
Bain certainly has taken that step forward this season. Among edges with at least 55 pass rush snaps, Bain is tied for the 4th highest pass rush grade in the country by Pro Football Focus. His pass rush win rate of 23.5% is also top 10 in the nation, but it's also his ability to stop the run that makes him such an impactful player. PFF has Bain as the nation's highest graded run defender with an elite stop rate of 14.3%, meaning that he was directly responsible for a failed run attempt by the offense on 14.3% of his snaps against the run. We are talking about one of the most dominant players in the country right now, even if the box score stats seem a bit modest through 3 weeks. So let's dive into the film of Bain's game against South Florida to get a better feel of why I truly believe he might contend for the number 1 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. If you are a huge NFL draft fan or a fan of college football, the NFL, consider becoming a member or a film junkie as well. It's just $2.99 a month. You'll get premium access to things such as additional plays from these clips coming soon, full access to my NFL draft big board where all of my notes, grades, rankings are constantly being updated as I'm watching the film on these games. So make sure to subscribe and consider becoming a member. But with that, why don't we go ahead and dive into Ruben Bane Jr., my favorite prospect I've watched so far in this draft class. I'm fascinated by Bain. There's not a lot of 275-pound edge rushers who can also rush the passer. And Bain is just a phenomenal player, both from a play strength and size tech standpoint, but also athleticism, speed, bend. He just moves different for a guy of his size. But we can start with the strength based on what we watched on that South Florida film. We've got Bain right here off the edge, and you're going to notice he does not get extended here. And we'll talk about extension a little bit later. But his functional strength, even when he's unable to get, his arms all the way extended, the push he's generating there is rare, rare stuff. That kind of push is just not expected from an edge rusher that's not getting extended. You're trying to convert speed to power, right? So you're trying to bend this corner, make that contact with some momentum, get your hands above your eyes, get them extended, and push that pocket. Doesn't always work out that way, right? Sometimes the offensive lineman's going to have, kind of an edge there, but it's the angle with which he's making contact and then just driving those legs and just legitimate strength to push that quarterback into the pocket. It's the kind of stuff we talk about when we're talking about potential first-round picks. It's why Bain is such a special player, and we can watch it one more time. Just This is not the kind of stuff you see often from an edge. I don't know how many edges you see at his size that are playing from this wide of an alignment. I mean, look at all the space between him and the tackle. But he utilizes it effectively. He can play with legitimate dip and bend off the edge. We see here he's swatting at the hands to make sure they're not engaging with him and locking him up. He gets low, he bends that corner, and then he's trying to chase through. It ends up being a great play by the South Florida quarterback, who I know is having an awfully good start to the year. But I'm just more so impressed with that kind of bend and dip from a wide alignment from a player like Bain. Again, you just don't see this kind of, look how low he is, look how flexible that ankle is to keep turning and tightening that path to the quarterback, forcing him out of the pocket. That's rare stuff from a guy his size. Like, when I think of guys this size, I'm thinking of, just true power rushers that don't have much to their bag, or a little stiff. But with Bain, it's just that ability to tighten the path to the quarterback. There's things that he does that are just not normal for a guy his size. The comp that's going to be the easiest one for people to make is Shamar Stewart. I think athletically and size-wise, they do remind me a lot of each other. It's just Bain feels like a much more polished version of that coming out and into the league right away, and that's really, really exciting. We also mentioned that Bain is the highest graded PFF run defender in the league so far, and this is a big reason why. I don't know if there's a better player. We see, again, Bain here, number 4. There's not a better player playing with extension against the run. So look at his wide base. Look at how wide apart his feet are. Look at what he's doing here as he gets extended. He's getting fully extended there to control his gap. So what you're trying to do here, you're trying to make sure nothing bounces outside. So you're constricting and setting that edge, right? But by getting extended, you can also peel off and here, but you can also use your strength, which not a lot of edges can do, is constrict this rushing lane. And that's what Bain's doing. He is keeping that outside leverage and having the option to cut back inside while still pushing this blocker back to constrict this rushing lane. And I don't know if he's going to make that play, but it's just the threat that he might. I think that terrifies the running back, and I don't blame him, man. Like, Rueben Bain's just a different kind of cat. You can see that snap back, too, if you're watching this. Snap back of the tackle's head as Bain gets extended right there. That's just rare kind of strength stuff. Like, there's just not guys that have this blend of pass rushing ability and run stopping ability. Bain just kicks offensive linemen's asses day after day. I need to make this extremely clear. Do not put a tight end on Rueben Bain. It is not going to go well for you. If you watch this here, again, we just talked about how excellent his technique and strength are is against the run. That poor tight end. Look at the angle of his body. Just don't do this. You've got other bodies that you can use to. We want to talk about how to effectively two-gap. We talked about it a little bit 2 plays ago, but it's just this extension from Bain right here. Look where his eyes are. When you're able to get extended and have this kind of play strength and you're this big and lengthy, you can set the edge here, keep your eyes outside, and as this running back comes in here, you can disengage because you're so extended to easily disengage from this offensive lineman and fill this gap. And that's what we call two-gapping, right? If your responsibility in a two-gap system is, we want outside contain, but we also want to control the gap inside as well. And just Bain is just so textbook at that. Would not want to get tackled by this large human being. He's just, I imagine it is not fun to get hit by that kind of strength. This is just, some really textbook stuff against the run for a guy that's so athletically gifted. I've seen so many college prospects with these kind of physical tools that can be really undisciplined against the run or with their pass rush integrity. I just think Bain is just so gifted at this kind of stuff that makes him such a dominant 3-down player. I tried really hard to find some nitpicks from this game, and this is the best I got for you guys. We got Bain here again, a wider alignment. This is one of those opportunities where I'd maybe want to see some more speed to power because it kind of feels like he's just stopping his legs here. So when I'm talking about speed to power, we're rushing off the edge, we're engaging here, and then we're getting our hands above our eyes and keeping our legs driving to push this pocket or this lineman into the lap of the quarterback. Feels like Bain kind of stops here, which is a bit surprising because I feel like the first play we showed you, right, is one where he did a really good job of finishing that bull rush, even though he wasn't able to get extended. If you watch here, it just feels like he kind of stops at the point of contact. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's just getting chipped a lot by the guards in this situation, but you can see he almost kind of stops. Maybe he's trying to rip inside, but the guard is helping out the tackle, so it was just a little bit of a nitpick. I think he can absolutely generate speed to power. It's just one of the things. I don't know if it's a stamina concern because honestly, he plays a lot of the snaps when games are in hand. I don't think I ever saw him come off the field in this game until it was well out of hand. It was a blowout. It could be that. It could just be maybe some rush lane integrity because of the quarterback and his scrambling ability. There's a lot of reasons this might be the case, but I was a bit surprised for a guy that is so effective at converting speed to power. In theory, I was hoping to see more leg drive there instead of seeing him stop his feet and let the guard help out the tackle. So I've had to coach edges in the past, and I think one of the hardest things to get a guy like, Bane here bought in on is handling polars. When you, as a younger player especially, go unblocked and this guy goes this way, your instinct is, I'm just going to go straight for the ball carrier. And that can be a real problem when guys are pulling to attack you and kick you out and create an edge. And Bane is just emphatically not afraid of polars. We're going to see here. So you can see we've got two polars coming right here. They're going to try and kick him out, and then they're going to try and climb to the second level, and they're going to try and create an open rush lane right here for the running back. Bane says, nah, we're not going to do that, and just destroys the polar. When I think it's a thing where, like, even if it's not the cleanest, which I think it's pretty clean here, you really want to constrict that rushing lane with the polar, make things harder. But long term, too, is a guard going to want to pull against you again the next time they try to run this play when you're doing this to him? Look at this, just intensity there. He is just stonewalling. Like, he wants to commit violence on that polar. I've one guy I can think of that was pretty good at this, but he was really small, was Nolan Smith at Georgia, who was really unafraid of these. But man, like that kind of size coming to constrict rushing lanes just blows up, gap schemes. And it's another tribute to his discipline. We can go back to it. So many players at like this caliber of player, let me get it to when it's polling. So many players, as soon as they see this, is just like, all right, cool, I'm unblocked. I'm going to blow this play up. And all that's going to do is make the guard's job easier to kick you out and make more wide. We've got Bane over the left tackle again, and this is just kind of the balance he has for a big guy. They're going to try and cut block him here, so you're going to see this lineman is just going to go low to try and cut out Bane's legs. The ability to stay upright through that and then finish this tackle. They always say the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I guess not if you're Ruben Bane, because his balance to not be phased by that cut block is pretty impressive stuff to make this tackle for loss. He has freakish athletic ability, and if you're that comfortable in that kind of frame to stay upright through, a block attempt that's pretty standard, this is usually a pretty effective block for a lot of teams, and he's just like, nah, I got this. We can watch it one more time, so just a motion into kind of a speed option, or a swing pass, sorry, and then just, he's not phased by that cut block. It's pretty incredible. So we've got a fun stunt drawn up here, so always a good way to try and influence the O-line to, have them distracted. We're going to push here and then, go here to get the eyes of the lineman going this way while we have a stunt coming through. So that's always fun, but there's a couple layers to this. Yes, Bane is the kind of size and athletic guy. I think like he can be really deadly on stunts. So we've got that component, and obviously it forces the issue into 67. And then we've got a nice swim move over, and then he's attacking the ball because he knows he's not going to be able to get to the quarterback in time, which leads to the batted ball, which is just another nice play. And when you watch it all come together, the stunt, the hand usage, attacking the ball, there's just so much going on here that I love, and it's just like he has such a plan of attack in his mind that he executes, with urgency on a stunt, and it just makes him so much more effective. These are the kinds of ways, like I'm a Packers fan. I think about Jeff Hafley utilizing a guy like Rueben Bain. That seems a bit unfair. So stuff like this is just going to make him even more desirable for a defensive coordinator at the NFL level. Last one here is just another one of those examples that will reinforce as far as the play strength from Bain, who is now over the right tackle. I think he has the ability to run a hump move because I think he's trying it right here. Like, what is that, dude? How are you generating that kind of push from that angle? Like, that's hump move adjacent at least. And, his frame, his athletic ability to just toss the lineman aside like it's nothing. That's Reggie Whitish. I don't like to use that lightly, but there's some stuff there that is pretty rare to see. We can watch it one more time. Like, I know it doesn't really affect the play too much because it's such a quick passing concept, but man, if he's able to do this kind of stuff right now, like he's only going to get more athletic and stronger at the NFL level. It's pretty pretty incredible. I hope this video has you as excited for Rueben Bain as I am. I watched a tweet yesterday talking about how there's not many 275-pound players that move like Myles Garrett. This is not a comp to Myles Garrett, but when I saw that sentence out loud, I was like, I've said the exact same thing about Rueben Bain Jr. I really think this guy is going to be in the running for the #1 pick. If he tests well, he continues to have a strong season for Miami, and he stays healthy. He just checks so many boxes for me and what I'd want is an ideal edge rusher. I think he's special. I don't think he's getting enough attention yet. I think Miami is going to make a real run in the ACC. I think they'll be a college football playoff team. We're going to see him on a national stage be really disruptive. And I think, NFL analysts, fans of the draft, everyone are going to start paying attention really, really quickly. So make sure you get on the bandwagon early so you can, brag to your friends about it. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure, again, that you're subscribed to the channel if you made it this far. If you did make this far, you're clearly a huge film junkie. Consider becoming a film junkie member. And we'll be back on Monday based on what we see from the weekend. It's my favorite part of the week of schedule is I have no idea what I'm going to write on Monday or put together on Monday until we see the games on Saturday and Sunday. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.